I'm going to introduce our trainer for today, and the man, Emeka Odikpo, PhD, in Abai Igbiram, worked at Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria for 35 years, from 1981 to 2016, in various capacities. He was at various times head of sports, director programs, zonal director Southeast, and director Lagos operations. He rose from the stable of being a producer, a programs producer, reporter, commentator, sports, and outside broadcasts before attaining the pinnacle of his career. Join me as we welcome Dr. Emeka Odikpo to today's training series.
Thank you very much. Fantastic, Bibi. I want to welcome everybody, including the sound recorder, Callistus. I want to welcome everybody to this podium, let me put it that way. But I want to say that I would rather not see it as training. I'd rather see it as a kind of refresher course. I would rather see it as a kind of discussion. So let me call myself the discussant for today. Well, the main topic being that the sports commentator and the challenges of outside broadcasts. Last 2 weeks or thereabout, Reverend Niola Latunji took us around the gamut of sports writing for news and for sports itself. I don't think there's anything he left out. So it's like a further explanation, bringing it down, bringing it home to our living rooms for us to understand better the mechanisms that are involved. Let me start with the question, what is sports commentary? Sports commentary, as Ernest will always say, is a kind of a minute-by-minute description of sports that are happening live, and that's the key word, live description of the events that are happening in sports, be it football, athletics, boxing, basketball, volleyball, handball, and so on and so forth. So that is the sports commentary. For radio, it's an intense exercise. It's a poetic exercise. Why? Because radio, of course, you know, is a blind medium, and you try to speak a lot of volumes of words to be able to paint a picture in your listener's eye, in your listener's mind. TV is a little easier because you watch and you listen. So the TV commentator, as a matter of fact, can be said to be an annotator, not strictly a commentator. What do I mean by this? Annotator in the sense that he is only reacting mainly to televised pictures on the screen. In other words, if in the course of the commentary, what is zoomed on the screen is Emeka Odikpo, for instance, discussing with Niola, and is shown, then the commentator on TV will say, "Oh, that's Emeka Odikpo there discussing with Niola." You have to really bring it in, because the viewer will be wondering, why did they show these people? What is their importance? What is the message? So that's the message you are passing on. You are trying to nudge your viewer into attention of what is going on. For radio, you don't have such pleasure. So you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. You must also mention the people that are there. Radio the commentary is, as I said earlier, an intense thing. intense in the sense that there is no moment lost. For radio, you cannot afford to have, whether it's a dignified silence or whatever, you must continue to talk. There must not be dead air, because that would be embarrassing. Okay, you build up. Let us even take a football game, for instance. You know that when you hear the ball is in the 18-yard box, then you expect a number of things. One, you expect goal, yes. Two, you expect perhaps penalty. There could be a fouling in the penalty box. You expect a penalty if there's a fouling against an attacking opponent. There could be a goal. There could be a miss, a near miss. There could be anything at all. So when the ball moves to the penalty box, you emphasize. You don't dull yourself, your commentary. But for instance, you can say for TV, you may even keep quiet if the ball is in the 18, because the viewer is seeing it. But when a goal is scored, you can even say, let's say Bibi scores a goal. What you say is on TV is allowed. You can say, "Oh, Bibi," and that's it. The man watching or the woman watching has seen that the ball has gone into the net. It's only when it is otherwise, maybe the referee has a problem with it, and referee now stops it and says no, or is checking with the coming of VAR at this time around. Then you begin to comment. Otherwise, once you say, "Baby," you have registered the goal. But on radio, you need to say, "Baby, he takes a shot. It's a goal. It's a goal." You must establish it so that the person listening will know that a goal has been scored. Unless otherwise the referee says it's not a goal, then you say so at the end of you are shouting. So there's no dull moment for radio. You must continue to describe actions that are going on. Someone asked me the other day, write sports. I say, no, do you write commentary? No, you don't. Describing what is going on, what is happening on the field. Now, at the initial stage of our development in sports commentary or commentary generally, we were told that football commentary, for instance, lies on tripod. One is, where is the ball? Two, who holds the ball? Three, what does he do with the ball? If you try to answer these three questions, you have made your commentary. Okay, let me give an example. Where is the ball? The ball is in the center circle. I've established where the ball is. Who holds the ball? The ball is in the center circle and with JJ Osnokocha. I've answered the two questions. Then the last one, what does Okocha do with the ball? Now, the ball is in the center circle with JJ Okocha, Nigeria's attacking midfielder, and he caresses the ball, puts it on the right foot, tries to get a pass to an to a teammate. You have answered. Now you build up from if he passes the ball to a teammate, who is that teammate? That teammate is XYZ. XYZ plays the ball from Okocha. Where is that XYZ? On the edge of the penalty area. What does he do with the ball? He flips it into the penalty, and a header is coming. So you have to build up. And once you get the ball goes to whoever it has it, describe what the person is doing with the ball or what the person has done with the ball. It's a chain, and it continues. It's scored, or until the ball is lost, or until it goes into throw in or corner kick or whatever. So this is in practical essence. And when we started and we were told that this tripod is what makes the commentary, we were told to keep our eyes on the ball. So it never gave you the chance to begin, okay, let's even the building up Okocha with the ball in the center circle, and he flicks it past a Russian Gambian. But who collects it now? It is Kanu Nwankwo. Kanu Nwankwo begins to gallop into the penalty area, and he fires Amokachi. Daniel Amokachi does a shot. you expect from the voice of the commentator, you expect something that will happen. But let me do this again now. Okocha with the ball. And he takes it away. It's a goal! You have not done anything on radio because you didn't build up. I mean, anybody can just relax and say it. So there's no relaxation. There's no moment, no dull moment for radio commentary, especially football. Even handball is worse. Handball is faster than football. The commentary is faster. Even the movement is faster. So move according to the pace. If the ball goes into touch for a throw in, for instance, we don't begin to say the ball goes into I throw in, I throw in, I throw in. No, it's a dominant. So the player will be reluctant to pick the ball, maybe because they are leading and he wants to buy some time. Then what you say is it's gone into a throw in for Rangers. I'm just using that as an example. But that Rangers boy is not even in a hurry to pick the ball because they are leading and they want to buy some time. The referee is cautioning him. It's still part of the commentary. But you are now, the pace is now determined by the action. You cannot have a fast-paced action and you describe in low tone. You have is a heightened prose, is poetic. That's the build-up to what we have today as sports commentary. Now, let us also look at that concept of eye on the ball. If you put your eye on the ball, you are not likely to talk about what the spectators are doing. You are not likely to talk about even what is happening in and around the field. And that's where Ernest Okonkwo, got a very high mark because Ernest believed that commentary is all encompassing. Once you are there, just started, whatever happens in that, either in the pitch or even outside it at the periphery, whatever is part of the commentary and is worth letting your audience know. So Ernest will be there and say, okay, we have about 10,000 spectators inside the Odikpo Stadium this afternoon to watch the stationary stores and the ACB Football Club, popularly called Lagos Rangers. What is going to happen today? This pitch takes about 20,000. Already we have 15. And I'm told that at the entrance, we have over 30,000 people. So the organizers must do something so that the stadium will not be overfilled to capacity and then cause some problems. So this is part of the commentary. If the stadium gets overfilled and then it goes down to handcuff laws, FIFA had said one time that it was a law that everybody must be seated in the stadium, that those who stand up are the ones causing problems in the stadium. So these are part of the things that FIFA tried to do, FIFA, CAF, federations, to calm down so that people will be attracted to the league. So Ernest will say, okay, if you say that commentary is a tripod, what if Okocha takes a shot and scores and referee says it's not a goal? Then you have to explain why the referee has to say it's not a goal. It's also part of the commentary. Why did the referee say that? Well, maybe somebody was standing on offside position and before the ball was passed to him, before he kicked the ball, the referee saw it. These days, you clear all doubts with VAR. You go and consult. There's touchline monitors. You look at replay back, look at different angles. The indication is that the referee is a human being. It could have a momentary loss of concentration. You may not see the ball or the player standing in an offside positioning, very well. But with the monitor, you now look at all the sides and in slow motion, and then you'll be able to take a final decision. The VAR will call your attention, especially when they feel that you have made a wrong call. If you have made a wrong call, maybe it's not a penalty, and you say it's a penalty, the VAR will call you and say, my friend, come and look at this again. If you are so sure as a referee, and that's one aspect, and VAR comes and the decision you are taking, probably the thing you didn't do well, and you look at it, if you are so sure, you can insist letting your hand. If you are not sure at it, see that you now say, okay, VAR, you have the game. But these are innovations that have been done to help the game itself. What are you expected to do as a sports commentator? Well, sports commentary is not just walking in and running commentary. Before the match is fixed. Let's say today, being 3rd of September, the match is fixed for Nigeria against Ghana, the Super Eagles Team B, I think in Abuja. It had been there, the date and time and everything. So what it means is that as a commentator, you have to plan and prepare for the commentary. Otherwise, you fail. How do you prepare? Now, what you do is, first and foremost, before when we started this in the 80s, we didn't have what we call commercialization as such. And at that time, FRCM was not into any commercialization, that we don't carry adverts and all that. So we were simply dependent on government, and government made provisions for such funding, even for overseas tours, for coverages, local tours, for coverages, and so on and so forth. So what you do is, those days, you make sure that if there's a planning committee of the NFA or NFA itself as the whole committee, you visit them, get to know what is going on. Is there going to be an accreditation for this game? If there's an accreditation, how do you go about it? They say you apply. And make sure you apply before the last day. Many people don't do that. So when you apply for accreditation, you state the number of personnel you need to be able to carry commentary, maybe 2 commentators. Maybe we used to have what we call the OB manager. OB manager is somebody that manages the entire gamut of commentary you want to do that day. How? He checks, first of all, the engineers will come in, put their microphones, put the ones for the guest artist who will be in the studio to analyze commentary position, to analyze at halftime. Then you have the one for the commentator, and then you have the effects mic. Then the OB manager will now look at where the effect mic should be put to get the effects, atmospherics, that, oh, yeah, and, the cheering or jeering of the spectators on the field. You will get it, where to get it right. Then the OB manager will make sure that there is a passage for you, for your stringer. Stringer is somebody, is like a messenger. They say, okay, go and get the team list. Those days, I will come to modern time. Those days, you go and fetch. Others will say, go and fetch the team list. You go and fetch it. Because at some clubs, for instance, if it's club like stationery stores, they don't give out their team list. They say so that the opponents will not get it and go and do it within the period. And then they lose the match. So they won't give you, they will give you when the match has started. It's not helpful at all for the commentator. Because when you get this team list, you study it. You now look at the formation the team is playing. If they're playing 4-3-3 system, then you know that there are 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and They are not really, but there's a false nine there. Then you have, let me not put you into what you may not begin to worry yourself about. So if it's 4-3-3 system, you draw the diagram of the field on your paper and put it as such 4-3-3. If it's 4-3-2-1, it's four. So there are so many systems these days. Those days is some people would say 4-4-2. Some would play 4-3-3. But these days you can even have 5-3-1-1. You can so and so on and so forth, depending on what the tactician, the manager, the coach thinks would be the best approach to the game. So the stringer will go and get the team list and then bring it in. If in the course of the halftime, and maybe there's an important dignitary in the pitch, in the stadium, maybe a governor, maybe minister of sports, maybe somebody else, maybe even the vice president, or even the president. Of course, if the president is coming or vice president, you will know. But if the minister comes, his entourage is not as loud, you may not know as a commentator. So the singer will go with a piece of paper and a pen and go and get the names of the dignitaries. From there, you can mention, it enriches your commentary, that, well, in the stadium today to watch this game, we have the governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, and we also have the Minister of Sports, Sunday Dare. We have the chairman of the NFA, so on and so forth, you know. Then if you want to talk with the chairman of the FA during halftime, or even at the end of the match, just a brief moment before you hand over to the studio, the singer will go and tell the chairman of the FA, say, "Oga, at halftime, you come up, you need it. I'll come and fetch you, go to say one or two things, you know, so on and so forth." And we agree. So when halftime is getting close to halftime, you march down. Once it's halftime, you get up, you go to the commentary position, and then we start it. So this is about the sports commentary. We look at the OB. What are the challenges of outside broadcast? Enormous. Let me take one example, international. Those days, you need to book. Okay, first of all, in OB, you need to know where you are headed to. Yes, identify. Where are you going to? Bibi called my village's name so terribly that you may not even know where it is on the map. It's a Bariam. Okay, so let me use it as an opportunity for me now. So you want to do an OB in a Bariam. Now, where is the Bariam? Bariam is in Anambra State, in Anambra East, local government. What are the historical attendance? Well, Bariam houses the University of formerly Anambra State University, now Kwemeko University, is bordered by Ukulu, town called Ukulu, Okoso, Nando. On their way to Ayam and Muluku government. You have already described it. Okay, if there's time and there are resources, you could send an advanced team to Iwariam. What does it look like? Is it living on top of water or under the water? You get this thing. When you now get to the terrain, you even identify where is the venue for the event. They say the venue is the town hall. You get to the town hall and you look at where do we mount our microphones, left mic, and so on and so forth. You have understudied it. You come back. Then let's say the thing is on Monday, nothing stops you from coming on a Saturday. Unless you get there and they say you cannot go in until maybe Sunday or until maybe first thing Monday morning. That's when you have a problem. But if they allow you go in, you go in. and start setting up and start testing your microphone. These are the first tasks, because if you have an OB and you travel, waste the money, and you go and you don't, the OB is not successful, it's a very shameful thing. You have not succeeded in doing anything. It's zero on your part. It's very painful to the commentator when you go for an OB and you cannot transmit. It's a tragedy. So you need to clear the lines. And then if it's a committee, find out on time. Is there a committee handling this thing? If there's a committee, put yourself there, go to that place. They say, okay, we don't need you as member. Okay, feed me. Go to the chairman or secretary, feed me with what people want the public to know and want us to do as commentators and operatives for radio and such as today. Then you get everything. When you come, it looks seamless. But those days, if it's international, you need to liaise with the agency that is handling the event. And then you need to also book your line. Those days we book. If it is a one-day coverage, maybe qualifiers, one-day match, you don't need it. There's no, what do you call it now? What you do is you book your line. Those days we book through London. Okay, let me give you an example. If you are playing in Cotonou or even in Lomé, which is just next door neighbor there, you need to book from Lagos. Those days, Lagos. Okay, let me use Abuja. From Abuja to London, London to Paris, Paris to Lomé. That's how you book. And you book 4-wire circuit. 4-wire circuit. I won't delve into too much into this one because it's engineering matter. This 4-wire circuit will enable you get effects coming in, filtering into your commentary. It will also to talk your own line. It will also get a return circuit, so that those in Abuja studio can speak with you off air and you respond. So that's why you book 4-wire circuit, full OB gear. And then we test the line, test everything. If it is true, everything is, a line is dropped at the satellite station in Lagos those days. Then the time for you say, so as the OB person, outside broadcast in international, you need to also book, apply for your visa. Except country, you need to know the country. If it is West Africa, we don't need visa. If it is outside West Africa, you need visa. So you go to the embassy and apply. And if they say it's where you apply 2 weeks before departure, you have to do it. Otherwise, you face some problem. When you have applied, it will ask you, give you a date or when to come for your visa. Make sure your passport is okay. In certain countries, if your passport is 6 months to expiration, they will not give you visa. You know the countries I'm talking about. So you have to be sure that your passport is up to date. You go and apply, and then collect your visa. Then go to the airlines and book your flight. How many are you going? When are you going? If it is if it is in Europe, it's easy. First flight 6 hours you are there. But if it is going to connect, let's say you are going to Mauritius, for instance. Sorry, I'm using Mauritius. It's the most difficult route. If you're going to Mauritius, you go, you take, let's say you take KLM, or let's say British Airways, you go to Gatwick. From there, you get a connection to you get from there you'll be connected. You have 2 connections to make to get to Mauritius from London. So you must be very careful to get your connections right. You are booking agent, must get it right. Otherwise, you'll be stranded. You get to London, you can't fly to Mauritius. And the event is next tomorrow. What do? You've wasted your corporation's money. So you must be sure the connections are right, both going in and coming out. If you go in and succeed in running commentary, very good, thank God. But what if you are coming back? Your organization would have paid you 4 days extra code. And you discover that because of not booking well, you spend 9 days. It's a thorough quarter. So you have to be careful to do all this. Then when you do all these bookings, you are sure to have a seamless operation. If it is local, let me even use the money. So, because ceremonial commentary, you need to know who the dignitaries that are coming. Ceremonial attracts a lot of dignitaries. Let's say Independence Day celebration, 1st of October, which will soon come. The president will be there, the vice president perhaps, the Senate president, House Speaker, Chief Justice of Nigeria, and so on and so forth. Ministers are like ordinary people in that kind of coverage. The security is heightened. Accreditation is very crucial. If you don't get accreditation, your ID card, your office ID card will not save you. That day, you talk to one recruit and say, I'm on Radio Nigeria, you look at you 2 times, not you call result for yourself. And you will be stranded. There's nothing you can do. And when you get back, the office will tell you you didn't do your work well. Because if you did your work well, you would have planned days ahead to make sure that that does not happen. Then, ceremonial is also difficult because where to pick your commentary position is also very important. Very important because one, you sure that where you put your commentary position for ceremonial, that the weather will not impede it, especially if it is 1st October, at times it rains. So if you are putting your commentary position, you must put it where you will not be disrupted by rain. You put it where there's free flow of movement between the commentary position and getting to the dignity. If you don't do it that way, once the event starts and the president comes, everywhere is locked up. You can't pass. It becomes a problem. So that's why I said for ceremonial commentary, you need to work harder. For football, for instance, many people don't like coming, unless it's a scheduled thing, it's a cup final, maybe a Cup of Nations final, AFCON final in Nigeria, the president may be there or vice president. But if it's a normal league games, club games, the vice president has a lot of things on his shoulders other than him to think about going to the stadium, except if he goes there as his own personal choice. So where the commentary is going to attract a lot of dignitaries, even some foreign presidents may be arriving. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that accreditation is right. There's accreditation they give, the same thing with even the World Cup, for instance. There's a special accreditation that gives you all-round movement in the stadium. There is a accreditation that restricts you to just the commentary position. When you come there, you go to the commentary and sit there until the event ends. So you have to determine what you really need. Do you need to move about? Yes, it's necessary, it's helpful. So even if they are going to give one exclusive accreditation to your team, let them give. Let that person be the one that will be moving. It's very, very necessary. Even in athletics, if you're covering athletics, for instance, you need a lot of movement. Why? You need to have somebody at the finishing line, if you mean to mount full OB, what I'm saying is ideal. I'm not saying that you cannot take your handset and go and run commentary, which is what we do these days. But I'm talking about the real full, what you call full OB gear. You need to have somebody at the finishing line. That person at the finishing line will now, as you are running commentary, let's say 100 meters, and now the gun has sounded, they take off. I can see Nigeria's Toby in lane 4. I see 25 is in forefront, and they make 50th mark, 50 yards or 50 meters. And she's still leading. Now, when I talked about ceremonial, you may ask me, what is ceremonial? Sports commentary is divided into two broadly: sports and ceremonial. Of course, we talked about sports. Sports take care of all the sporting events. For ceremonial, you can subdivide in again special events. So there are in ceremonial, every other thing that is not designated special event is ceremonial and is not sports. Let's say I mentioned the independence celebration is a special event. It has a date, it has a time, it has a venue. It has a sequence. You must study the date, the time, the venue, the sequence. Like as I talked about accreditation, it requires accreditation. So you must get additional accreditation to back up your ID card. At some point in ceremonial, somebody can come to where you are running commentary. You would think an official, a security agent, will come to where you are doing commentary, and we tell you, can I see you have seen your accreditation, you are wearing it, is correct. We say, can I see your ID card? He wants to make sure that you belong to the organization you claim you belong to. If you say you are in Radio Nigeria, can I see your Radio Nigeria ID card? Show. So you must arm yourself with all this. With a Radio Nigeria ID card, which may not even be tenable that day, they may not even need to show it. Then you need also to have your full accreditation. If your accreditation is warrants you to get to your commentary position, go to your commentary position and sit there. For ceremonial, for sports, for special events, time is of essence. Those days, permit me, in Radio Nigeria, we had a lot of them. Had La Following Show, we had Ernesto Okonkwo, we had Tolufato Igbo, we had Kevin Ejiofor, we had Sebastian Ofrom, we had Joe Latte, we had Walter Batowe. Only Joe Latte is the one still living now. Those days, as our bigger guys. Then Joe Latte is Ghanaian, he's about 95 years now, he's still living very much. I spoke with him some few weeks ago. So we had them. So they're determined. We now have the leader of the team. Maybe Sebastian from. If Sebastian was to lead you in, let's say, a sports festival, he led us in 1985, Para 85 Sports Festival. And those of us who were beginning to enjoy football commentary, when we got there, we faced the greatest obstacle of our lives. How? He sent me to go and cover badminton. I didn't know anything about badminton. Then he sent Buno Wabo to cover boxing. Sorry, cover boxing. Buno Wabo to cover basketball. To cover, what was it? Richard said we cover cricket. So you do. You don't say, hey, I don't know anything about cricket. So you need to be knowledgeable. You need to know. In fact, if you know everything, it helps. So you need to be knowledgeable about all sports, at least a snippet of it. What did I do? I never had any inkling of badminton where he sent me. So what I did was I got to the place. They had not started playing. I saw the court. It's the same thing, basically like tennis. It's a court, badminton court, tennis court. It's racket that is used. The only thing is that they don't use ball, they use shuttlecock. So I studied it. The same system of this thing, the stroke you give, backhand stroke, forehand, rally, and so on, overhead smash, just like in tennis. So I went to one of the coaches and he briefed me, gave me a lowdown. And I said, okay, I will try. When the event started, I registered a few things and I brought in the coach. So when there's a point made, I called the coach, Coach Williams. He became my, what we call color commentator. And they enriched my commentary. So what I'm saying is that you must, just like the Boy Scout, be prepared at all times. It is the only solution if you want to make it in commentary. Well, what I've been saying earlier has been on those days. Well, somebody said those good old days. Let me even talk about now. It's not as tasking because, let me give you an example. Those days we run commentary without monitors. You just watch and talk. That's all. But with international improvements, we now started copying some of them. Especially when you have an international competition you are hosting, like when we hosted the 2009 Nigeria 2009, the Under-17 FIFA World Cup. Actually, FIFA Under-17 World Cup. So, what you do in that kind of circumstance, you need to be provided. You have to demand with a monitor. It helps. With that monitor, as a radio commentator, it is not compulsory, but it helps. It enriches your commentary. When we went to the World Cup, USA 94 World Cup, which was the second coverage we had in World Cup. The first was Italia 19. The second was 19 US 5 World Cup. It was a lot of improvement. Now you had a computer. The US put computer. The computer is simplified form, not this what we have, the normal computer. If you want names, you press N. It is written, the key is there. If you want names of players, you press N. If you want name of country, you press C. And the countries will come. You scroll down to the country you need. Up to the point that we were even provided with pronunciation guide for the names. Like the Greek players, they have all these strong names, like even the Ukrainian, the Russian players, and so on. The Greek Pediapopolis, and so on and so forth. So they showed us, there's this new, they show you how to pronounce the name in US 94. So if you are not sure, you press. If you go through the team list, if you want to your team list, you get your team list where you are seated in your commentary. You don't need to go to anybody. Like I said earlier, you have to go and fetch it those days, especially in Nigeria. I hear people still fetch it in Nigeria, especially in the league, so on and so forth. So it was very, very helpful. Then you have a monitor. When a move is made and maybe referee stops it, you look at they play it back, you watch it, and you are talking, you are describing it. Somebody who is listening to radio at home would say, this man know everything. No? I wouldn't know that you are being helped by something, by technology. So what you have these days, when we went to South Africa 2010, the first World Cup, Senior World Cup hosted by Africa, we had something to help us with commentary. They call it Google Plus. That Google Plus, I heard about it for the first time during the games, before the games, shortly before the games, and one of our engineers downloaded the app on my phone. Once you key into it, and that was why we had seamless broadcast during the 2010 World Cup. And then that was why, even when Mandela was brought to the stadium at the opening day, we got it without anybody else getting it, especially talking of the African team, like African Nigerian team. So Radio Nigeria got it first. That Mandela was in the stadium. Some people didn't get to know until I mean, some radio and TV houses. It was through the help of that Google Plus. I don't know now that you can use your phone, coming of the phone, you can use it to run commentary. Even within, you need it. Meet your engineer, let him do it. There may be some improvement. I'm just talking as a novice in that line. There may have been some improvement, some apps that are better than that one I'm talking about. So what else is there to say? Let me also give example of outside broadcast outside Nigeria. We talked about having the monitors, having computers, and commentary position. Now, in some games, in some competitions, in some tournaments, you are required to liaise with the rights holder, the large area rights holder. So anytime you have an international competition, All Africa Games, Commonwealth Games, World Cup, Olympic Games, Africa Cup of Nations, and so on, there are some designated rights holder, broadcast rights. Without them, you cannot broadcast. Even if you say, okay, let me go to the stadium and use my phone, if they get you running commentary and they know it's live, you are liable because you're doing an ambush or it's theft. They make their money by these rights, from these rights. And the games don't come every year, they come 4 years. So if you deny them the opportunity, they pay. They go and pay for the games, pay for the necessary things that the organizers will charge them, and then they collect the broadcast right. So if you go through a rights owner, the rights owner will be the one you liaise with. He will go to the organizers with their list of demands and make sure that everything you need is given to you at the commentary position. So it's very important. You are also protected. Anything you need to tell them. We have to sign off. We'll give you 5 minutes to ask questions, but let me just read out what Ernest defined for me and said, anytime I'm training, I must say it. And he says, commentary is all about creation of images and sound. It is heightened poetry. You must be descriptive when needed, dramatize as the question demands, and be colorful for the overall comprehension of your listener's mind eye. I pause here. Okay. Questions?
Thank you so much, sir. I can't thank you enough. So it's time for questions and answers. We will take about 5-6 questions, and then we do what we call vote of thanks. Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate this.
Good morning, Dr. Odikpo. It's nice to see you after quite a long time. And thank you for this brilliant presentation. So I just want to understand what role you are currently playing to mentor young who are into life commentary, especially in knowing that, because like you, as you sign off now with NS Okonkwo's admonition to you, that signal to me that he mentored you, how you doing, so that the excellence of live of sport commentary will not die in our country.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you know why I laughed there? Because I have really gone around the stations, some of the stations I could, and I talked to them on the need for training and retraining. Even myself, I need a retraining because the new trends in sports commentary, there are some that I need to know. Even in the rules. Why I didn't talk about the rules was that you talked about, let's talk about the rules last time around. You have to know the rules and regulations, and they keep changing with each competition. Yeah, I'm aware that we know now that there are 5 changes to be made in Europe now, started with Europe, and so on and so forth. But to answer your question directly, what role am I playing now to mentor people? Like I said, I've gone around to some that I could, and everybody's complaining about fund. I have a friend. I have so many friends who are proprietors of radio stations and TV stations. And I said, okay, I could arrange, just take care of my transportation, don't pay me a consultation fee or whatever. Some are still to come, they say, we'll come back to you. It looked as if one is begging really to train. It's so painful. FRCN, for instance, this is what I don't always want to say, because they say he has left the place and he has turned his back or is talking ill of us. No. FRCN, like I mentioned, that we had how many? Shalafalo Nsho, Tolufato Imbo, we had Ernest Okonkwo, Kevin Ejiofor, Joe Latte, Walter Batoe, we had Sebastian Ofrum, then the younger ones, Carlo Docho, Richard Asiebu, myself, Pius Osewege. Later we had Shino Abimbola, who has also retired. And it's like Shino went home to Ibadan with the microphone, because we don't have any, even in FRCN. And there are people that are trained. We kept on training on the job. We keep we have what we do every Wednesday. You can confirm from Shino. I think he's a member of this a member of the platform. Every Wednesday we do a postmortem to teach people, to teach the younger ones what to do, and so on and so forth. There were a time that the women, some women said, we are not gender sensitive. Okay, women should come. But the problem was that those days we had regular competition. They were all the weekends. And the women, especially the ones that are married, will complain, if I go to work Monday, Friday, Saturday that I should be home to take care of my kids, go to market, cook better food for them, I will go for matches. The fact was that those days we never went for any ceremony, wedding ceremony, burial ceremony that are done at the weekend, because we were engaged. So the women couldn't survive in that kind of weather because they need to cook, they need to do some laundry at home, they're waiting for Sunday to go to church, and then Monday to go to work again. So I think the only woman that survived was Modele Sharafa Yusuf in NTA. I may be corrected here. So we are trying. I have been making effort in your life. If you have a radio station, I tell you, I'm free. I'm donating myself in Ibadan. I guess you are in Ibadan. I can come and we discuss what I need is you just take care of my logistics. That's all. Don't pay me any stipend. I will come because we are made. Olufato Igbo, for instance, say, look, this is like a baby to us. If commentary dies, it's like your baby has died. We feel so bad. Unfortunately, the democratization of radio, of broadcasting industry, didn't help matters because the guys who own the radio station feel it's a waste of money for training in all facets, not just sports commentary or commentary generally. So we need to really do a kind of sensitization. And people who are grading the stations are not also helping. Why? Because those these untrained DJs that they put in the FM station. Don't take offense. I know what I'm saying. They go there and say, I can run commentary now. I can do this one now. We used to, the DJ and commentary are the same. I have had it several times, several places. Those who should know that DJ and DJ is okay. No, now I give you the music, blah, 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 that is the same thing like commentary. So they don't need to train again. It's so bad. So I've done my own. I have written to a number of places. I say, when you need me, call me. I will come. And so far, just one that called me, and so on and so forth. No other one. But I still go around. There is one in my area in the university. While I was there doing my PhD, I tried to help free of charge. I was contributing, I was training, and they were so happy and felt when I finished, I should now apply formally to be engaged. Say, well, let me rest from the one I have done. So Enola, that's how I have done. I put a challenge to you. Odegbami has invited me a number of times, and it's better for it, I think.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have Anikade Funke Treasure. Your question, ma.
Hello, Anikade.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning, sir.
Morning. I hope this is your period. The period to ask questions.
Nice one. No, it's not my period. It's the period of many girls across Nigeria, and I'm looking after them. It's so good to hear you speak about one of my favorite subjects in broadcasting. Why? Because it is an exclusive area in broadcasting. I remember, sir, the more you talked about Olufato Yimbo, the more I heard his name, the more I felt the pang of nostalgia, because, I made my debut on the FRCN Network News, reading the 4 p.m. news with Olufato Yimbo. So, and in the last 2 weeks, I've been talking a lot about the hunger that is not there for the present generation of broadcasters. We're talking about outside broadcasting, commentating and all of that. Do they even want to be? Are they hungry for it? That's by the way. I remember when I was GM Radio 1 and I instituted the Radio 1 Children's Sports Fiesta, the maiden edition. I'd asked the DLO then, the Director of Lagos Operations, that I'd like a special training for the sports unit under me and key presenters to learn how to run commentaries. So we brought Shina Abimbola, we brought Richard Asebo, we brought who else now? And we had like a week, training young people, new people in the sporting units, how to run commentaries. Because again, you know that being a sports presenter is not all about just analyzing games and analyzing players. And it's not just about football. There are other sports that ought to be covered. For instance, I have a table tennis championship. When I was going to do that in Ibadan, I ran into problems because there was just nobody to run the commentary for me. But for Kunle Adeyeye, who unfortunately had also passed on, it was Kunle Adeyeye who covered it for me. But so the question now is, when we talk of running commentaries, people talk about footballs. They think it's just about football. We need the competence to also run commentaries for other sports for other games, for other sports like table tennis, like volleyball, handball. How do you do that? I mean, we need the specialties, right? So back to the training we did then, we ended up getting new people who could run commentaries. We even experimented with pidgin commentaries, and it was super duper. It was really fantastic. What I can't tell you is whether they've sustained that tradition of training more people in running commentaries and even running that commentary, because you see that lately Radio Nigeria hasn't been getting the rights to run commentaries. That's also one question. Then finally, you look at the fact that it looks like running commentaries is gendered. There are fewer women who can do this. So I've been willing to work with you to see whether we can get more women to run commentaries, to learn how to run commentaries. Thank you very much. It's nice seeing your face, sir. Thank you.
My ugly periodized face. So let me come. You have lectured me actually, so it's not even a question. But let me just try a little. Everything seems to be falling apart. Everything, and it pains me. Some people accost me on the way and say, up to yesterday, I didn't know that after retiring for about 6 years now, that people will still remember that name, Emeka Odikpo. I went somewhere, very strange place, and a market, and I went to buy feed for my chicken, and the man looked at me and said, "Yeah, is it not that man? That man who that man?" I say, "Which man? Is not that man." I tried to dodge. The man said, "No. The way they talk is like a voice of one man. That man, radio." I don't know the person you are talking about. So you now mentioned my name. Believe you me, just yesterday, I'm telling you the truth. So to allow such things that brought us such fame, such opportunities, how many countries did I travel to? If it were now, I would have been a billionaire. I would have even been able to pay for some of the party's presidential form, big form, because you can imagine. I tell people, I show them the good side. If you are in sports and you are not a commentator, then you are not in sports. Like that advert that says, if it's not that Panadol, it cannot be the same thing as Panadol. So if you are in sports and maybe you just present sports news, that's not enough for you. That's not even exciting. These days, we don't even package sports programs. There's a program I introduced in FRCN, and he died. He died in Lagos simply because I went to Abuja. Is this sporting life? This sporting life was just to look at those that played the game. Where are they now? That's the question. Where are they now? What are they doing? And with that program, we were able to discover those who had played the game, who had even are incapacitated by illness or one thing or the other, and we brought them to limelight, and they got help from that. But that program died as soon as I left. The reason, the person who took over, Chukwu Onyechukwu, was not able to get money, say, I want to travel. They said there's no money to travel. And the program died. So what we do, like you said, I believe what you gave me a challenge, say we can work together and see, bring in more men, bring in more women to sports commentary. Please don't let us let it die. It is so painful.
Thank you so much once again. Permit me to introduce somebody whose hand is up, somebody very humble. Is the Executive Director News of Voice of Nigeria, Hazia Sulaiman. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to see my boss, Emeka, after a very, very long time. I followed all through, and I'm so happy and excited. I don't know what is happening to these new stations these days. In those days, for me, I had the opportunity of going to TV college when I was working as a TV reporter, a sports reporter, to be trained on how to report sports and how to run commentary. When I joined Voice of Nigeria, we also had the opportunity to go to FRCN training school, where the experts, all the names you mentioned, some of them came to lecture us and to teach us. But these days, when you listen to them, it's all about the EPL. They don't even know where Nigerian players are playing. They don't even pronounce the names correct, even when they attempt to run commentary. I know, Emeka, you've taught us. You said one time, when the ball is on the pitch, if it is football, for instance, it is that time you cannot touch it. So when the ball goes out of, it has gone out of play into touch, but they will be saying it has gone the other way around. It is. I think some of these people, and I remember before the World Cup 2010, we were brought together, and where necessary, things were taught, even how to pronounce some of those foreign names, so that we don't make such mistakes. I don't know what is happening these days, and I think, Emeka, from what you have said, I believe, and I believe so much strongly. I would suggest that some of this, in some of the meetings, they should bring people like you to come and impart, because what is going on these days, they'll just bring people that don't know anything. They'll just sit down and discuss. You talked of real programming. You recall when I was working with you in Voice of Nigeria, when you were my boss, we had to package programs, and people were calling from abroad wanting to be part of that program. But these days, people just come together and just be talking from lack of, even there's no depth in what they do. So I think we should find a way around it. And you, since you've offered yourself, they'll provide the logistics for you before we exit and go finally, so that some of this knowledge will be transferred. Thank you very much for being there for us all the times. I'm happy to see you and to have listened to you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, my executive director. I don't know who will call who boss now. You are my boss. Anyway, we thank God. Let me say, Bond started very well at some point. It was under Bond that we had a collectivism that took us to the World Cup in South Africa 2010, as well as the World Cup in Brazil 2014. I don't know what happened. Then when I now asked about 2016 Olympic Games in Rio, Brazil again, they said Bond was not there, and FSA even couldn't go. Even the World Cup in Russia, FSA couldn't go. Those days, when we were there, it was a travesty of some sort for a competition, a national competition, not even international now, to be going on, and FSN is not there. Who are you? In fact, Alhaji Mohammed, when he was the DG FSN, there was a coverage we needed to do in, it was in Zambia. And I was told by the bureaucracy in FSN there was no money. And the man saw me at the gate when they said, "Are you not supposed to be in Zambia?" And I said, they said there's no money, sir. They will say, is somebody saying for me or me saying for the person? Emeka, I don't care how you do it or whatever. You must be in Zambia. I want to listen to you in Zambia. you cannot fail. So we started running. The people that said there was no money now brought out money. So anyway, let's continue, and we hope that we'll get it there someday. Okay, if you can give Eniola a chance to speak.
Of course. Okay, Reverend Eniola Olatunji, please go ahead.
Now, I said we have exhausted training the trainer, but there was something that troubled me that just cropped up now. In 1979, Emeka, we had radio organizations of Nigeria, which later metamorphosized to BON. And we were very much like a family, all the radio stations in Nigeria. That was what produced somebody like me. I was a young fellow from OGBC at that time, and we behaved like a family and we were helping each other. Even when it was a Radio Nigeria program, they would invite some of us to come and join them. And that was why they invited me in 2003 for the All Africa Games. I had left broadcasting. I was no more into broadcasting at that time. But I want us, those who are still there, to help us look at how can they make radio organizations of Nigeria to come back so that we can synergize together. How can they make radio organizations of Nigeria? We have so many radio stations now. They must include the campus radio. That is where we can teach these students how to do it when they get out of the campus, through the campus radio stations. But Emeka, I want you to, because you are a guru in that side, I want you to talk about discipline within the OB area. You know, when you are doing OB broadcast, you have what we call an area. Okay. Today, even in this broadcast that we are doing, even in this one, there is no discipline. You hear some people talking in the background. How can we bring it down? How? Is it an engineering problem? Are they the ones allowing those things? Even the commentators themselves should know how to talk within an OB area, especially when they are not using nose mic. You didn't talk about mics. We need to educate them that when you are not using nose mic, don't talk within an OB area. I've listened to so many live broadcasts and they will be saying some personal things and it's going on air. You don't know where they will monitor you from. Part of the discipline is language. 1979, I think I've said it on this platform. When I called Ishola Folonsho, I said, Baba Ishola, you know that he's a father to so many of us. Instead of saying, now over to Ishola Folonsho, I called Baba Ishola. I don't know who slapped me, whether it was Ernest Okonkwo, whether it was Sebastian Ofrum or Tolu Fatoyinbo. Those were the people who were in the commentary position together in the Liberty Stadium there. We don't have such thing like respect when you are on OB point, but it's not happening. Those are the things I want you to make comments about. Discipline within the OB area is important, including arrival at OB points. You know, when you say matches start at 4:30, in our own days, if you come 4 o'clock, you will not be on commentaries again. That's part of discipline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me quickly touch them. This is quite professional. So the phone is still tonight. I think because last time that they sanctioned the radio stations that couldn't pay, I think Bond made a comment. So Bond still exists. That's one. Two, there is also, you talked about various independent stations around here. I think they have an organization called IBAN. So they have been collaborating with Bond. I think there is a lacuna somewhere. I don't know. The man that was there at some point tried to raise the bar, but I think there was a transition. I'm not trying to undermine anybody's position. I think there was a transition, and perhaps the people that took over are trying to learn the ropes now before plunging in on the national consciousness. we pray that happens. I said here a while ago while talking with Ahazia that Bond was solely responsible for broadcast organizations going to the World Cup in 2010 and 2014, and I was part of that team. So I was thinking that they had started making some progress, but there's a lacuna somewhere which must be looked into. And I challenge Ahazia is a close pal to Bond organization and IBAN. Well, that said, we talked about discipline. Yeah, you have even given the answer. A lot of people, you don't, we used to have what you call commentary box those days. Commentary box enough to contain maybe three operatives. I think the one at the Abuja, the Emeka Abiola Stadium in Abuja contain about 3-4. And there are so many studios there, commentary positions that are unoccupied, and some people, loafers, just come there and be making noise. You even have to shout them down. Some will even want to engage you, to argue with you on what you are saying on air, right there on air, which shows clearly that they're not supposed to be there. When they do it, what we do is that my stringer OB manager will just bring in security personnel and clear everybody from the commentary position. We don't talk when the commentary is on, when the match is on. In fact, let me tell you, because it's among us for me to begin to talk about individual sports. In tennis, which used to be lawn tennis, you maintain what they call dignified silence. When there's a rally, the match is on and they are playing, you don't talk. You keep quiet until the rally is over. Somebody has won a point, you now talk. And that's when the spectators also clap. If you clap while the rally is going on and somebody loses it.
It seems we lost Dr. Odikpo there. Okay, I think he will be back. Maybe internet connectivity.
Is that it protects you, it covers the area. It protects you from when you are assuming you have had a long spell of commentary, heightened period in the commentary. And it is a goal. Oh, it's not a goal. It is a goal. No, I don't do that. When you finish, you are likely to pant. So, but even if you are panting, your breath is controlled by the lip mic. That is the one good thing. It also eliminates external noise. But somehow, our engineers, even before I exited, said the lip mic was no longer in operation, or no longer in vogue. Surprisingly, when I went to the World Cup in 2010, the BBC, CNN people were still using lip mic. But we now have omnidirectional microphone to run commentary. That is a no-no, but that's what we use these days. Omni, not even bidirectional, omni. That is, it collects noise from all angles. 360 degrees. So that's not the mic to use for commentary, except if you are in a place that you needed to get the voice, the noise infiltration, you can use it. But for commentary, when you are running commentary, tennis, football, handball, and all that, you need the mic, the lip mic. What we use before I exited was omnidirectional mic, and they say lip mic is no longer in vogue. I don't know why. Language, yes. I ran commentary with at the tail when it was the direct headquarters administration. That's Sholapur Show. What was I then? I wasn't up to even a controller. I was about principal officer level 12. Rubbing shoulders with Sholapur Show, a man who you call rightly the first indigenous sports commentator in Nigeria, who brought it down to us from the Igbos when they left. Then who at that time was director of headquarters administration. I would just say, well, microphone goes to Shala Florisha. Finish. throw away your face. Or when you say, because you are with a fantastic baby and you know she's a Mrs., you say, microphone finds Mrs. Fantastic baby. It's not done. Titles and respect, like chief. This one, as far as it's a co-commentator, everybody is on equal basis, one, and there's no gender. So if you are handing over the microphone, you say, microphone finds, if Buhari wants to run commentary, for instance, our president, and there is running commentary, we hand over to Muhammad Buhari. Finish. You don't need to say General Muhammad Buhari. But if you are interviewing General Muhammad Buhari as a respondent, as a personality, then you can introduce him first, introduce him as General Buhari, depending on the policy of your station. Some stations will say Mr. Buhari, some will even put General Buhari, ECFR, and so on and so forth. So depending on your the constitution of your station, Buhari is Buhari on commentary in active service. Then arrival, you talked about arrival. Yes, you said 30 minutes. No, then it must not be, if you arrive 30 minutes to the kickoff, it must be about the bombers against Water Corporation. It's not a high thing, there's not a high game. In international and competitions, and even cup finals, you must arrive 2 hours before the kickoff time. If you arrive, NS will make its own 2.5 hours. If you arrive 2.5 hours, if you arrive 2 hours to the kickoff, NS will, the best NS can do for you is to make you a discussant during the halftime. You cannot run commentary again. He will leave you there, he won't say anything to you. Then you call result for yourself at the end of the day. Of course, you came to run commentary and you didn't run, which means you were like a substitute player not used at all in a match. So that's terrible. You must arrive early. The advantage of arriving early is that by that time the crowd has not surged so much. You have free movement. Even the security men at the gate will see you and say, Emeka, now welcome, now go run now. Go listen, you go, because tension is not high. By the time the crowd starts surging, tension is high. If you pass there, that same man that greeted you that time will say, go back, go back. He wouldn't want to listen to you because tension is high, adrenaline is high. So you must arrive early, stay there. If we have a major football match, I go there, I carry my food. Or if I don't have food, I buy on the way, I eat it inside the commentary box. So it's very important. It's like somebody going to read the news at 4. He arrives 5 minutes after. So his arrival is very important. Thank you.
I don't know how to thank you, Doctor. I still have the hand of Nelson. Nelson, please go ahead with your question. Nelson, are you there? We have just 5 minutes left for questions. Any other question?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Nelson,
yes, good morning.
Okay.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. In fact, when I came online and I saw the face, even without looking at the name, I said, is this not Emeka Odikpo? And to be able to gain from your wisdom of broadcasting this morning for free, I think we thank God that you are still alive, that we can tap into your knowledge. And looking at what is happening in the broadcasting industry with regards to sports commentary, I believe we are all aware that the global economic situation has dealt us all a terrible blow. And also the fact that we live in an age where values have been totally lost. you just talked about during your time that during NS Okonkwo, if you come in 2 hours, that NS time is 2.5 hours. That you become a passenger in the bus instead of being a co-pilot. So that tells you clearly the times we are in. So my question to you and a plea is that in view of the times we live in, can you please avail those of us who are not trained broadcasters or journalists but have crashed into it because of the advent of the Android phones and what have you, and we have become emergency journalists. Can you please avail us some of this your knowledge through you running maybe a YouTube channel? In that way, a lot of us will be opportune to benefit from your wisdom, because what you have just done this morning, cannot be bought. I remember I'm past 50 now. I'm in my mid 50s, and I remember as a young boy, I used to listen to your commentary very well. Emeka Odikpo on radio. You don't need to go to the stadium. Just stay in your home or wherever you are, and you'll be watching the match through his voice. So that is just my little contribution this morning. Thank you, sir. And thank you to the organizer.
Thank you, Nelson. The YouTube channel, I think I will consult you so that you tell me what are the indicators, because I'm not as, what do you call it, internet friendly. My senior brother used to say that the internet is up for them. It's for the younger ones. But all the same, running a YouTube channel, running commentary, teaching commentary, there will be a fantastic idea. I think I'll consult you. I'll consult BB too, so that you help me do the logistics. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, sir. The name Godwin, is that Godwin Emeka or Godwin Uka? Godwin. The name Godwin.
Godwin Uka of Vaughan.
All right. You're welcome, sir. Now we go straight to vote of thanks. Tony Ekata, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. This has been a very fruitful session, and that is not unexpected. I know that as soon as we said it was Dr. Odikpo that was going to train us, we knew what was going to come. He almost disappointed anyway in just one area. When he was doing his presentation, there wasn't any joke until he needed to remind Funke that it was her period. So that is the quintessential Emeka Odikpo. You can't spend a moment with him without laughing. That is what he does to our platform, the BGF platform, the regular platform. So I would really like to thank him very much. But before that, permit me to highlight some of my takeaways. And also, please don't mind my voice. I got a bit of flu from my trip to Abuja. Now, he started by saying that commentary, doing radio commentary, has to do with poetry. You need to be poetic. And of course, we know what poetry is. Poetry involves the use of expressions that convey your feelings. You convey your ideas with intensity, and you use colorful language. That's why I'm happy also that Reverend Eniola came back to say we need to talk about language. He talked about it when he trained us 2 weeks ago. It's very important. You need to know your language. You need to control your language. You need to have your adjectives. We keep saying that, so that, like the last person said, the last man that made a comment, asked a question about Dr. Odikpo running a YouTube channel. He said he was able, you would be able to watch the match through Emeka Odikpo's voice. I think that is the hallmark of commentary. And that is because of the graphic nature of the language he uses when he's running his commentary. So we need to improve our language. Every opportunity to improve your language, read wide, listen to others, and make sure you have language at the tip of your fingers. So he said something about outside broadcast not just being about sports. And that's what we keep saying. Like today when we're promoting this, and we said, learn something little about something. The educated person is the one who knows a little about everything. So people who would say, it's sports, I'm not going. I'm sure we now know that this is not just about sports. Outside broadcast could be about ceremonial broadcasts also. And the logistics that he mentioned here apply to all of them. An advanced team for information on the terrain. You need to be able to identify where your props should be, where your commentary station should be, the kind of weather, how it will affect you or not. Then you must do accreditation for every event. For any serious reporter, you must accredit yourself to cover every event. And time, you need to be timely. You need to research the event. You need to get used to the relevant jargon. Every feed has its own legal, they call it legalese, technical language. You have your technical language, you get used to it. Otherwise, you will be lacking. So now, if you needed to mention the dignitaries, I found that quite funny. In those days, you go and get a list of the dignitaries. The stringer runs to get the list and so on. And that again highlights the difference between radio and TV. The TV, the cameraman just pounds on the dignitaries, and it's easy for the commentator to say, okay, there is the governor, that's the president. But without a monitor, that is hectic. So if you are doing radio and there is no monitor, you also need to know how to get ready for the task ahead of you. For travel plans, when you mention discipline and you talk about travel plans, punctuality, the personal punctuality needs to be highlighted. Because if you miss your flight, for instance, that's the end for you. I had a bitter experience in that regard. In, I think it was May 2002, President Obasanjo was coming on a two-nation visit to Namibia and Botswana. We had to fly from Johannesburg to Windhoek, the Namibian capital, myself and the news agency of Nigeria correspondent, Wale Ojetimi, who is also a member of BGF. Now, after the Namibia event, we needed to get back to Johannesburg to take the connecting flight to Gaborone, Botswana, but we missed the flight. Due to no fault of ours anyway, but it could have been our fault. The flight from Namibia delayed. So what did we do? We took our Toyota Camry and drove through the night from Johannesburg to Gaborone, 5 hours. And then the event was canceled. That was the month that there was this, I think it was the EAS airline crash in Kano that killed over 100 people, 70-something or about 30 on the ground. So President Obasanjo canceled the trip. So if we had missed that, I mean, we missed it and we had to drive, which was a huge risk. But, you know, I'm just using that to illustrate the fact that you need to plan ahead and be at the airport early if you are going to cover any event outside of your station, because if you miss it, you miss it. Now to the vote of thanks, the read theme. There is no way to thank Dr. Odikpo enough. Bibi didn't mention at first that he was head of sports at Bonn, but now we know he was our boss. He trained us not only in sports commentary or sports reporting, but in news production and programs production. And he handed over to my boss, Ahazia Suleiman. I'm so happy that he's here also, the current executive director of news at Vaughan. And since we are doing vote of thanks, let me quickly thank him and the Vaughan staff for the warm reception they gave me on my brief trip to Abuja last week. Thank you, sir. Now, let's talk about Funke Treasure and her period a little bit. I'm sure you know that she has a program podcast, My Period. That's what Dr. Odikpo was talking about. This is one lady who is giving a lot in mentorship. She's a member of BGF, and very soon she's going to be training us here on presentation. And if you want to hear more of her treasurable voice, you need to watch this space. She's not the only one. When you talk about training, when you talk about mentorship, that is what BGF is about. Most of the dignitaries in media, I call them dignitaries in media, that were mentioned here today, some of them are here right now. Some of them are on the BGF platform. They are with us because they believe in mentorship. Where you heard Eniola, Reverend Eniola, who trained us last week, is there. Shino Abimbola is there. Siris Toba is there. You know these people. Chukudi Okole Ubaja is there. You have Mazi Kevin Ejiofor, who turned 85 years last month. 85 years. And he's still giving a lot of himself through WABMA, through BGF. I mean, you can't beat that. You can't not want to be in the same space with this kind of people. And we are so privileged to be with them there on the same platform. I need to thank Callistus. Callistus is the host of this event, all the way from Verona, Italy. That is the magic of technology. He's also our graphic director. You can see that in the profile, the background for his profile, this Zoom profile. So he is a very valuable member of BGF. Thank you, Callistus. Fantastic DB is always fantastic. She's the fantastic coordinator of our training sessions. I thank you. I thank every member that attended. And I thank the guests. I mean, those who are here, who are not yet members of BGF. I know that some of them came through our BGF mobilizer, Leonard Arrow. Thank you, Leo. You're always doing your job the way we like it. Thank you very much. Well, what else is there to say? I just have to use this opportunity to appeal to those who are hungry for training, like Funke Treasure put it. If you are hungry for training, come to BGF before we start charging fees. We are not charging yet, but we will be charging, and we will be charging in foreign currency because it's a global platform. Membership of BGF spans at least, maybe at last count, 13 countries, but at least over a dozen countries. So our dream is to make this a training institute, and by God's grace, it will be, and we will be charging. And we also have plans to float a BGF radio, so that when somebody was talking about radio, I just smiled and said, yeah, that's part of our vision. So please join us. You can come through Leonardo, you can come through BB, come be part of us. We are taking these places with the help of the veterans that we are privileged to have with us. I thank you very much, everybody. Till 2 weeks' time, when we'll be listening to the golden voice of maybe Funke or Chukudi. Thank you very much. Goodbye. God bless you.
Thank you also, the EIC, Tony Ekata. I'm so happy to meet you in Abuja and to learn from you. Thank you.
Now, my children are running to the toilet because of the cliche you bought for them.
Thank you, Dr. Odikpo. My day, darling. Thank you, everyone. It's been a very eventful training session. And how can I end this? I love you all. Please, let's do this together again on the 20th of September, 2022. Have a lovely day.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you
and
so
thank
much.
you to all the beautiful ladies I'm seeing here. Please come and join us.
Tony, have a blessed weekend. Greetings to
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ogami.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Emeka, thank you so much. I remember being on the same trip with you to Egypt 2006 Nations Cup. And it was just natural that you were the head of delegation of the about 28 Nigerian journalists that were in Port Said then. Thank you so much, Dr. Emeka Odikpo.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks to all, and have a lovely weekend.
Callistus, thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you very much. I wish we can have the off-air or the recording of this session. It would have been a very nice thing. My name is Gospel Amaliam from Asaba.
Excellent. We'll send it to you because it's not longer for everyone. We need people to come for the training and hear by themselves, but I'll send it to you.
All right, bye all.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.